How's it going, guys? I am the Texas Man. Welcome back to the channel. I hope you guys are all having an amazing day. Make sure you guys subscribe if you haven't already, and you guys hit that bell notification button to get notified of any and all upcoming videos coming out here on the channel. In this video, we are going to be talking about the 18 films that got sequels that were worse than the first. So, this is a bit of a really hard list for me to have had condensed to 18 films. There was a lot of movies that I considered putting on this list, but I think I did a pretty good job narrowing it down to 18. Originally, I was going to have like 40 to 50, but I was able to narrow it down to about 18 just to keep the runtime as short as possible for you guys for this video. So these aren't in any particular order, so let's get right into it. Make sure you guys leave a comment in the comment section if you guys agree or disagree with any of these films here on this list. So these are 18 films that got a sequel that were worse than the first film. Starting off at number 1, The Smurfs 2. Oh, The Smurfs 1 was an amazing film for what it was. They did not need to do a sequel at all. And the sequel is worse because it's basically the first film, but with a lot more crude jokes. And the storyline also is boring and more predictable than the first one. Number 2, Madagascar, Escape to Africa. I don't know how in the world they could butcher Madagascar. Let's ship them off to Africa. Make it where the animals are basically trying to fall in love with other species of animals. So like the hippo is trying to fall in love with the giraffe. This film was supposed to be meant for kids, and I feel like this movie should have been like given a PG-13 or a rated R film just because of all the nonsense that's involved. Number 3, The Mummy, Tomb of the Dragon Emperor. Yes, I know this is technically not a sequel to the original. Technically, it's number 3 in the trilogy of the Mummy movies, but it's still quote-unquote a sequel because it just is. And how in the world do you make it where the film has to actually tell you, yeah, we needed to make a third book because we needed to have a conclusional trilogy done, and so we're going to just completely kind of, quote-unquote, forget that the first 2 films happened. We replace it with a boring dragon emperor that can do whatever he wants to save his own skin, and must also remove the actress that we've all seen in the first 2 movies with some dumb, I need saving constantly person. Just horrible film. Number 4, Men in Black 2. Horrible villain. It's basically the first film all over again, but instead of Will Smith getting woken up, it's the other guy getting woken up and realizing that the MIB actually exists. Yeah. Number 5, London Has Fallen. So, I don't know if you guys know, I think I've talked about Olympus Has Fallen, the first film, briefly here on the channel. Olympus Has Fallen is about this one dude, and he's taking out all these bad guys that have taken over the White House, and he's trying to rescue the president. In this film, London Has Fallen, it's all about trying to save the vice president, and instead of in the White House, it's protecting the vice president in London. Yeah, that's about it. Number 6, Percy Jackson, The Sea of Monsters. Let's make a film that is somehow only not even 90 minutes long, more boring and predictable, and has a big cliffhanger for a film that we're never ever going to see based on the book series. Number 7, Rio 2. Number 8, Narnia, Prince Caspian. They butchered the book, and they added stuff into this film that wasn't in the book, and it honestly did not help whatsoever. Number 9, Monsters University. Yes, technically it's not a sequel, it's a prequel, but because it was made after Monsters Inc., quote unquote, technically, it's classified as a sequel because of that nature. The backstory between all the characters that we've seen in Monsters Inc. Why did they need to make a movie about it? And literally, the backstory for all the characters really doesn't happen in Monsters University until like the last 5 minutes of the film. Everything else is like, hey, look, this is what college life is like. Like, yeah, it sucks. Move on. Number 10, Transformers: Revenge of the Fallen. Literally, if I watch that movie, I watch the opening scene for all the action. I skip all the college nonsense. And then I go right to the Egypt scene where Shia LaBeouf dies. Number 11, Thor: The Dark World. The Dark Elves are boring villains. Loki dies again and then comes back to life. And we get introduced to an Infinity Stone. Boring. That's why it's bad. It's boring. Number 12, Alvin and the Chipmunks, The Squeakquel. The only thing that this movie does interesting is introduces us to the Chipettes. Everything else in this film is boring and bland. Number 13, you guys had to know this was on here somewhere. Jurassic World: The Fallen Kingdom. Oh, I love ripping this movie to shreds when I watch it and have to talk about it to somebody. This movie is filled with feminist politics, animal rights activism, and just plain stupidity, especially at the end where the little girl hits the button and she says the most aggravating line ever created. I'm alive. Or I don't know how she words it, but this is she's like, she hits the button, she's like, I'm going to save them. I'm alive, so they need to live too. No! First of all, you're not really a person, little kid. You're a clone. And all these dinosaurs that you just let loose, like the T-Rex, it's going to go around and start eating people and other things that was not supposed to happen. Number 14, Batman vs. Superman. I don't care if you have the extended edition like I do or not. This movie is horrible. It's bad. It's a bad movie. Like, seriously, why couldn't Batman get a kryptonite suit? No, he gets a kryptonite grenade launcher and a kryptonite spear. Oh, this movie was horrific. It's like they should have done like a Batman origin film before this. Like the DC universe really was rushing stuff with this film. Number 15, Resident Evil Apocalypse. This movie is bad because it tries to rip off the video games, and it does so horribly, introduces us to way too many characters that just end up getting killed off one by one. And it also has the most stupid thing where the zombies are coming out of the graveyard. And the movie also just drags on for way too long. Number 16, Matrix Reloaded. Now, yes, the Matrix trilogy is hailed as one of the greatest trilogies of all time. But Matrix Reloaded, the scene that really drives me insane is when you get to the old guy that actually ended up creating the Matrix, and he's trying to explain the purpose of the Matrix and the purpose of the Chosen One. I've sat with people that somehow are computer geniuses, and what the dude says really is confusing and makes no sense. You have to watch that scene in slow motion even to try to get a baseline of what he's actually saying. Because when you watch that scene, it's just blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, okay, the Matrix exists for a reason, and the Chosen One exists for a reason. We don't need to spend a 5 to 10 minute dialogue session trying to explain it to us, because me, like a normal audience member, doesn't care. At number 17, Independence Day Resurgency. Let's take a classic 4th of July film and ruin it. Aliens come back for revenge plot done 1,000 times, and the humans now have incorporated the alien technology into our own normal human technology. And then the big alien Hive Queen at the end battle trying to take out a bus. Like, I'm sorry, it was horrible. And then lastly, number 18, Pacific Rim Uprising. Let's completely ditch all the characters, basically, that we've come to know from the first film and replace them with boring, generic actors and actresses that really no one cares about. Give us a dumb love triangle, have a lot more references to Iron Man, and have it where John Boyega really doesn't do anything of that great importance. So that's going to do it for my list. Thank you guys so much for watching. You guys all have an amazing day, and I'll see you guys in the next video.